Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I am against banning, making something illegal, or, in general, as a principle. I don't think that's a good thing. Some things obviously are necessarily to be banned. I understand that, but certain little banning of, I don't know, showing, displaying a sign, or saying a thing, or using a word, I disagree. Or a letter being banned, you can't have that letter, or regardless what that is. I think that we should not infringe those kind of expressions. Now, I understand that certain things need to be banned. Obviously, don't show pornographic material to certain kind of, strata of the population, and so on. And many, I understand that smoking and drinking, underage and so on. I understand those things. Yes, you should do that. But not in things like, for instance, you can't display that flag. Why? Because something happened 500 years ago, and it was awful, and some idiot had a flag, and you might support that. And even if you support it, well, that doesn't mean that you're going to do something. Well, when you don't do, then we're going to deal with it. Because with prevention, too much preventions, it's infringement of your liberties. If I want to prevent crime, I will not allow anybody to do anything. Just stay in your houses and ask for permission to leave. And again, I will take all the weapons away, including knives. I don't know how you're going to cut your bread. You're going to be pre-cut by certain kind of special, and I don't know, something like that. And besides, why would I care? Just break it. Don't cut it anymore. We can find all kind of BS. So, very restrictive. I don't like restrictions much. And what happened here? We have Germany, and we have the May 9th, remember? The Victory Day, where Nazi Germany, signed its unconditional surrender in front of Zhukov and the Allies. And then, you have Ukraine and you have Russia in this article. So the Germans decided to ban the display of the Russian and Ukrainian flags. And only the Ukrainians are upset. Now, you might say, well, it makes sense to a certain degree. Well, to a certain degree, we can find justification for many things. A lot of people found justifications for heinous crimes, if you know what I mean. It doesn't mean that they are right, but they could find justification. Now, so the same here. The Ukrainians are upset. I have an article here from, obviously, Russia Today, and it's from today, May 5, 2023. Ukrainians angry with Germany over restrictions on flag. I am angry too. That's for me. But hey, that's their country. They can infringe how much they want, ban what kind of words or any speech. They can do whatever they want, because the Germans are not free. And not that we are. They're very limited in what they can do. Just say a few things and then you get arrested. And Kiev's ambassador has named Berlin's move, and I'm quoting, very short-sighted and unfounded, end quote. The Berlin police's decision to ban Russian and Ukrainian flags at the city's memorial sites during the upcoming Victory Day celebrations on May 8th and 9 have drawn the ire of the local Ukrainian associations and sparked criticism for both the current and former Ukrainian ambassadors to Germany. And I'm quoting, the dignified commemoration of the fallen soldiers of the Soviet Army, and listen to this, who, together with other armed forces, contributed to liberating Germany and the world from the Nazi dictatorship, is the focus of these days, end quote. Correct. The German police said in a statement on Friday, in which it announced a ban on the flags and some other symbols during the Victory Day celebrations at the city's memorial site. Always ask, who are those people? Because there are a few people who determine this for the rest of us. So certain people decided that we should not do, or they should not do that. Who are those 5 people? 3 people, 1 person, 7 people, 100 people? They decided for the rest of the society. I wouldn't give them that power. But hey, this is democracy. You vote one time and one person decides with its weasels. And I'm quoting, "The act of remembrance and respect for these memorials and monuments must also be preserved against the background of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war," end quote, the police said, adding that it should not be turned into, and I'm quoting, "conflicts or arguments over the ongoing conflict." So they protect you. They already say, we're going to prevent by not allowing you. If you get in a scuffle, we want to prevent that from happening, not intervening then and arresting the perpetrators. No, we're gonna infringe your freedom because we don't want to intervene later and get the people who really get involved in this. You say, "Hey, Emil, come on, you want them to get over there, things could escalate." Well, things could escalate in many areas if you go like this. You know, that's why we have police. Yeah, sometimes you can prevent certain things, but if you, as I said, you want to be a sterile society, you can prevent that by having all of us live in cages or, I don't know, basements. Apart from the national flag of the 2 countries, St. George ribbons of World War II remembrance symbol popular in Russia, as well as mock military uniforms and their parts, military and marching songs, and any, and I'm going to exclamations that are likely to condone or glorify, and I'm quoting, "the ongoing conflict in Ukraine," are banned as well, according to the police statement. Can you imagine a person reading all this and saying, "Okay, let me get the list. I'm going to go over there to commemorate, but when I'm going to say something, I'm checking the list first about, I don't know, 50 things I can't do, and then I say, okay, I think that's not on the list." The problem is, you see these exclamations? They are likely to condone, likely. So that means it's based on people's interpretation, the police. All right, Ukrainian ambassador to Berlin, Alexei Makeyev, blasted the banning, specifically the Ukrainian flag, as, and I'm quoting, "very short-sighted and unfounded," end quote. He called on the police to revise the decision. So this guy doesn't really care if this guy's getting fights. He said only our flag should be allowed, the other one should not. So he's not concerned, I would say, about conflicts and arguments. Imagine that the Ukrainian flag would be allowed, but not the Russian. Don't you think there would be some arguments and conflicts? I think there would be. Therefore, this guy doesn't really care about that, like others. I'm not saying I don't care about it, but you know what I mean? I'm for freedom. If these guys want to fight, organize, like see this little square, I would just block it like that, put the law enforcement, and hey, go for it. And if things get out of control, I'm going to intervene, arrest them, and all that. Anyway, he called on the police to revise the decision. An alliance of the Ukrainian organizations in Germany slammed the move as well by saying that the Berlin police was, and I'm quoting, "sending the wrong political signal." Okay, and went on to accuse the law enforcement of legitimizing the Russian extermination war, end quote, by equaling its symbols to the, and I'm quoting, "national symbols of Ukraine." No, they just want to be fair. So, you know, if you get, when you're going to get into fights, they will, know who's who and what. Say, okay, we try to do this and we do that, and you still fight. Kiev's former ambassador to Germany, Andrei Melnik, has been even more blunt as he criticized the police decision. And this is what he said, I'm quoting, "Have you gone insane?" end quote, said the controversial diplomat, who was known for his outspokenness and insults against the German politicians and officials during his tenure. He also called the decision, and I'm quoting, "a blow below the belt for all Ukrainians," end quote, on Twitter. Well, what can you do? Berlin has as many as 15 memorial sites, including the iconic Soviet World War II memorial in the Treptower Park. The sites have long served as the popular gathering places during the Victory Day celebrations. Last year, the city authorities took a similar decision, banning Russian and Ukrainian flag. At that time, the move also drew criticism from Ukrainians and even some German media, while the ambassador Melnik called it scandalous. Well, Melnik called it like this for the wrong reasons, I would say. And his reasons is like, we should be allowed, but not those guys. Why? Because they are the bad guys. They beat us in, or whatever. They fight, attack us, exterminate, however we want to call it. I don't give a fuck. That's the point. He just says, oh, no, it should be us because they're the bad dudes. This guy ignores, for instance, the fact that, wait a second, the whole thing is the Soviet Union, which Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, Russia was part of the Soviet Union, and many other countries or many other nations, republics, if you want to call them nowadays. And they all, went to Berlin, the Russian Red Army, right? No, the Soviet Army. No, so you know who made it? Who instituted the Soviet Army? Yeah, that Russian, Mr. Bernstein. Wasn't his name Bernstein? Or Bronstein? Bronstein, I think. Oh no, you don't know who that is? Oh, Trotsky, my bad, Trotsky. Yeah, he made the Soviet Army, the Soviet Red Army. So anyway, it doesn't really matter, I just had to say it because so we know who's who, what's what. Which is not a bad thing. But if you remember, the Red Army invaded the newly formed Ukrainian country in 1918, if you remember. So yeah, anyway, let's go back to this guy. I think that I would allow them to do, use flags. I would allow them to say whatever they want over there unless they incite to violence, and then arrest them over there. They have the means, but they're afraid to use it. And if those guys get crazy, get crazy. It's not that I, how should I put it? I want that to happen, but I'm for freedom of speech more than trying to infringe it to keep us safe somehow. Because with that kind of safety, I lived under this kind of regime in the communist Romania, where the government, the communist, the one-party system, was telling us what we can do because they were protecting us. But with this protection went to so many infringements that they were protecting. I don't want those guys to protect me from saying something and someone, disagreeing with it. Otherwise, you're going to have a sterile society. That's going to be pushed too. And 1984, the dystopian novel of George Orwell, is a very, very, very good, first step to understand that these guys, or at least make it literary, I don't know. I think, that's their country. The Germans can do whatever they want. Those guys in charge. I disagree with infringement of, especially of expression and freedom of speech. And when you tell me, oh, that's going to happen, this is going to happen, that, a lot of things can happen. They can ban cars that day. Why don't they ban cars? Because some crazies might use cars as stupid weapons, if you know what I mean. Or they should ban knives. Or should ban what? Rocks? They're going to... clubs? If you go like this, you're going to go forever. You say, well, we got to do something with that. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Anyway. That's my assessment of this, and as I said, that's their country. They're already like that. So, thank you very much for being with me again today. I think they're just fair that they do it both ways. Therefore, will not have one side frustrated, and then really provoke if they really want to appease the crowd in a certain way. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.